Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach, and today we're going to have a look at Sam Docherty as we continue on with our SuperCoach player profiles. Of course, I work my way through some of the more popular players all the way up to the most popular player in Nat 5. We're working through quite a few of them at the moment, but we're up to the rebounding defender at Carlton now at the moment. He's in 23.6% of sides, obviously after a fantastic 2016. He averaged 108.7, which was fantastic, but it will see us paying $591k for the rebounding defender in 2017. So he's certainly expensive, obviously for good reason, given the fantastic year he had last year. But obviously in these player profiles, we take a look at both sides. First up, why are you going to pick him? It's pretty clear cut. He plays that +1 role in the Carlton backline to a T. He's very good at reading the play, was fantastic with intercept possessions, but not to mention he uses the ball very well as well. So he's a double punch there, manages to read the ball, links up nicely with Cade Simpson. They both averaged great numbers, they were good for each other. So I mean, it's clear. I mean, he can win plenty of the ball, averaged 25 touches, 8 marks, used it beautifully, 16 kicks to your 9 handballs. So he certainly prefers to kick, which is always good, so we get plenty of effective kicks out of that back line. So certainly it's clear cut why we'd be picking him. I mean, he's a premium, of course, averaged fantastic numbers, and we'll be looking him to produce those again if we were to select him. But I think the more relevant topic of discussion is why we might not pick him, and the reasons to maybe just be wary of potential drop-offs. Now, firstly, I guess it was his first big season. The year before, he averaged around the 87, 88 mark. Did always look like he was on the cusp of something special. Obviously, he plays that role very nicely. Looked good at the Lions as well when he was picked with a very high selection. And it was no surprise that he came through as a premium defender. Probably to go 108 was a bit of a surprise. That was pretty big. But I just suppose when we're picking premiums, we really like to spend big money on guys that we know have done it year in, year out. It's always tricky to pick a guy when he's only had the one good season. Will he drop away? Will he fall back to the pack? I mean, there's always guys that do break out and then just continue on, and they are our next superstars for the next 5 years. No doubt about that. But just when you're spending 600k, I think it's super important to look at every aspect and every consideration. Do I think Docherty's going to average very good this season? Yes, I do. But it's worth considering these little things. Zach Tui has left the club. Now, that'll change the makeup of the back line ever so slightly. I don't think it'll impact Docherty hugely, but it could just be a slight change-up. It might be something you just want to see how it goes in the early parts of the season. Also, opposition clubs will certainly put more work into him. Often when a player breaks out within a season, clubs, while they prepare for him, it's often not as much as if they were to have a whole off season and really dissect a player that they really know now is an absolute gun of the competition. Sometimes it can take teams a little while to cotton on or look a little bit more at Simpson and things like that, but no doubt clubs will be doing their reviews in the last few months, and when they come up against Carlton, they would have watched tapes and tapes and tapes, and they know that Docherty is a key element to stopping the Blues. So I'm not saying that he couldn't be stopped and it might impact him big time, but it is just something that is worth considering. So there are a couple of things, of course, as well. His price, he will drop. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Unless he comes out roaring with 120s, he is going to drop. Now, I do feel that we'll absolutely have an opportunity to get him at a lower price, probably around the 500k mark, which leads me into my verdict. At the moment, and you may have seen me or heard me talk about this in other videos, I will not be going with Docherty. I think he's too expensive. If you're going to go with a real expensive defender, I feel it would be Heath Shaw. He's got the runs on the board. He's done it year in, year out. I would be snapping Heath Shaw up if you were picking out of the two. I think Docherty, it's probably just worth seeing how he goes in that first 4 to 6 weeks. For the reasons I mentioned, a little bit of a change up in the back six, a little bit more attention probably coming his way. How does he respond to that? As well as the fact that it is just easy to sit back in the knowledge that he will drop. Now, of course, players' price are a little bit elevated at the start of the season, and most do drop. I mean, it is common knowledge that anyone over 600k will drop at some point, but I think there's some players that are worth having in your team even if they do drop, and others that are probably worth the gamble that they will drop off and not hurt you immensely. And I feel like Docherty is one of those guys that we can probably afford to leave him out. If he does just average 100 in the first 5 rounds, he's still going to drop nicely, and I just feel that if you're going to bank on someone, it's going to be Heath Shaw, and I feel that Taylor Adams will probably be the best defender in 2017, and you can get him even a little bit cheaper. So I feel like we're not going to be punished by not having Docherty. He is in quite a few sides at the moment, and fair enough, I think he's got all the elements to remain around that 100 to 105 average, but I certainly feel it's worth taking the mini gamble. I suppose when we talk about leaving guys like Gawn or Dangerfield out, it's a bit more of a gamble, but I feel like Docherty in the back line, it's less of a gamble, less a risk to leave him out, because we do have other good options. If you were to fill your back line with Adams, Shaw and Laird, for example, I don't think you're going to drop away hugely from the rankings by leaving Docherty out, and the fact that he'll certainly drop anywhere from 60 to 100 plus K, then I think that's certainly something that we should consider. So he's not going to be in my side. I feel like I can definitely snap him up early and much cheaper. He will be, he and Shaw, depending if I do go with Shaw, but certainly Docherty I won't be, so no doubt he'll be on the radar as my first defender to upgrade to. So that's a wrap up on Sam Docherty. Let me know if you're going to select him and what your thoughts are on the explosive defender. Next up, we're going to have a look at a man who is returning from injury, another rebounding defender. He's playing for the reigning premiers, didn't receive a medal, but he is nicely priced. Is he worth going with? I'll discuss that in the next couple of days. Stay tuned for that. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Comment as always. Always good to get your thoughts on these players. And above all, subscribe to the channel. It's been going really well. Thanks again, guys. I'll catch you soon.